I want to talk a little bit about Nintendo and what is going on with Nintendo right now. Now, I didn't watch the Switch or the Nintendo Direct that just came out recently. It's June 2026, and there was a Nintendo Direct that just came out. And if you didn't see it, the really big announcement was an Ocarina of Time remake. I played a crap ton of Zelda games. I love Zelda. I genuinely adore Zelda. I've played at least 7 different Zelda games. And to hear that they're remaking Ocarina of Time, I'm like, oh my god, that's so hype. It's going to be an official remake. I would totally play that. I personally own a Switch. I like my Switch. My Switch is a good console. I enjoy my Switch. Now, I assumed immediately as the Ocarina of Time remake was announced that yes, it will be a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. And I gotta be honest, I don't own a Steam Deck. I would almost rather buy a Steam Deck still, even with the higher price increase, than a Switch 2. Because I already own a Switch. And even though I would love to play a remastered version of Ocarina of Time, even if it is the most, banger game out there with the remaster, I still cannot justify spending the money on a Switch 2. I can't. And I don't know if I'm the only one here. Maybe you feel the same way. Maybe you already have a Switch and you're thinking I'm not going to buy a Switch 2 because I already have a Switch. Now, I know there's a lot of folks that already had a Switch and they decided to upgrade to the Switch 2 because they are incredibly big Nintendo fans and they play a lot of Nintendo games. And that's fine. That's totally cool. I don't judge you for doing that. I love Nintendo. I played Nintendo since I was a kid. I've had a N64, a GameCube, a Wii U, and now Switch, and a Super Nintendo. The only one I haven't really owned is an original Nintendo. I've also owned a Nintendo DS at one point. I don't really own many of these consoles anymore. I only have my Switch now. But I love Nintendo. I love Nintendo games, and I played them a lot. But I genuinely cannot justify forking over the money for a Switch 2 because I just know I'm probably not going to get that much enjoyment out of it. There's only a few Switch 2 exclusives right now that are out, and none of them really appeal to me. I love Metroid Prime. I've been a big Metroid Prime fan since it pretty much came out. I got it used, but it was a great time. I loved it. I played the first, the second, and the third. I loved them all. And I would absolutely love to see a remastered trilogy of the first 3 Prime games on the Switch 2. That might get me to buy a Switch 2 along with a remastered edition of Ocarina of Time. Might. Operative word might. It's still expensive. And while I love the idea of remastered games, which is so great, and it's so nice to see that we're also seeing that with Xbox and Fable's getting a remaster. I think they're remastering the original Halo Combat Evolved, as well as a new Gears of War coming out. There's some really amazing game drops that are happening right now, and it's really cool to see. But even amidst all those awesome games that are arriving, the price tag is so damn high that it is so hard to justify. Even just regular Nintendo games are still so expensive. Nintendo still sells them at full price. If you want to play Mario, it's $90. Mario Odyssey, it's around $90. I can't remember the exact price tag right now, but it's roughly around. It's still expensive for Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, Paper Mario, Mario 3D World. All of these games, they are expensive if you want to own all the AAA titles. Nintendo doesn't really do discounts. And I mean, Nintendo does fine as a company, I'm not saying they should discount their games because obviously they're still staying afloat somehow. But in terms of being able to play these titles, I just can't justify spending that much money on them. I would rather take that $90 and spread it out to 10 different indie titles that I know I will probably get some enjoyment out of and also get some variety out of. I like that. I love indie gaming now more so than AAA gaming, just because of how many amazing indie game experiences I've had and continue to have, and for a reasonable, justifiable cost. when a AAA game is just so expensive, and not just the AAA games, but the console itself. Like this, coming back to the Switch 2, there is not that many console exclusives to buy a Switch 2. It's really hard to say, okay, yeah, let's get this, when there's maybe like a handful of Switch 2 exclusives that you might want to play, if that. And I mean, Donkey Kong Bonanza does look really fun, and I would play that. But still, we're still looking at a $90 price tag. These games, like the Nintendo games, they really feel like they are for a luxury market. Like it is the luxury gamers system now, which is weird because Nintendo never really felt that way when I was a kid. Of course, you know, games were still full price back in the day, but I remember them being $60 as the max price game, not $90. And now some games are $120. It's almost over double the price, at least double the price of what it used to be. And it is a bit sad to see. And I know the economy's changed and inflation and all that other jazz, so it's a little bit of a bummer. But I remember there being a lot of AAA titles you could buy, at least used, that were at a decent price. Now, I don't really know so much how the used market looks for Nintendo games now. It's been a long time since I've walked into a GameStop. I buy pretty much all my games as downloadable content now. But yeah, it just feels like Nintendo has gotten more expensive as years have gone on, and that has priced out a lot of people from playing video games, which is sad. I'm curious how the Switch 2 is actually going to perform, and if they're going to continue to put out new and good games. Remasters of old games, it's not that they're bad, but it's not like they're really adding anything new to the table. Now, I'm not complaining about it getting a remaster. I want to clarify, I think it's awesome they're remastering Ocarina of Time. That game deserves a remaster. It is a fantastic masterpiece of a video game. I loved Ocarina of Time. But just Ocarina of Time itself is not going to get me to buy a Switch 2. I'm curious if it will get you to buy a Switch 2 if you are now going to be first one at the door to buy the next generation console. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that these games are overpriced, or do you think they're fair? Maybe it's just me and my perspective thinking they're too expensive, but that's my take. I'm curious what you have to say about it. Nintendo maybe will one day become the more budget-friendly gamers at some time in the future, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that way anytime right away. At any rate, thank you for listening, and I will catch you in the next video. Zen out.